It's time for sports with Kevin Jousset, who very kindly rescheduled this interview a few times because of my poor planning. But we're here, we're getting it done now. And Kevin, I guess just first of all, you're training out of City Kickboxing, hailing from Bordeaux in France. How the hell did you end up in Auckland?
Oh, well, I've been traveling heaps. Yeah, so first off, when I was younger, because of judo, and I was like in kind of judo school, so I had to move every couple of years to go to like higher level school every time. So I've just been used to move a lot since I was like 14 years old. So it's been a long time. And then I moved to UK first, lived there for a bit, learned English, and couple of years, and I moved to Australia for a few years. And while I was in Australia, I studied MMA, and I've met some people who told me about the gym in New Zealand. Obviously, coming from a grappling background, and I knew how good those guys were in striking. I was like, oh, let's go there and train for a little bit and see how it goes, just trying to get better. So I flew there from Melbourne, stayed in New Zealand. That was in 2019, I believe, early 2019. And yeah, I loved it. Loved the team, loved the people in general, just loved the training and everything. So then I flew back to Australia for there, and I just planned to move full time because I just knew for my career that was a place to be. So yeah, here we are.
You talk about being a judoka. I think anyone who's watched you fight knows exactly what you can do with that skill set. Talking about City Kickboxing, a lot of people look at that gym as like it's strikers only. It is very refreshing, I guess, to have yourself down there, the guy whose background is grappling. Like how is that for you? Being, I guess you'd be one of the higher level grapplers in the gym and being able to train with these guys and I guess share, the skill sets. So you help them get better and they help you get better, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, people think that's only strikers, but the reason being is most of the people are better strikers than whoever's gonna fight. So they just don't get to show their grappling. But many guys are very high level grapplers at the gym too. But nobody gets to see it. But we have heaps of good grapplers too. And some of the best strikers are also very good grapplers. But yeah, like definitely, like the gym is great. Like whoever has good knowledges in whatever it is, are always happy to share it. So yeah, when people need my help for some judo tricks or whatever it is, yeah, I'm always happy to share it with the boys. And yeah, something like when I've tried to get better in striking when I moved there, everyone was helping me out a lot. So yeah, no, that's good, man. Like that's good to just share knowledge in general. That's how you get better.
You've had a pretty interesting MMA career so far. I mean, what, three fights in and you're fighting Jack Della Maddalena for the Eternal welterweight title. And that was only on 2 weeks' notice, right? Like, tell me a
Wow.
little bit about that fight because like I just watched it recently. I mean, you put up a hell of a fight. No one watching that would know you went in on 1 week notice.
Yeah, so I've done my pro debut in March 2019. Won first rounds, and I fought against like 6 weeks later for my second pro fight. I won. Then I went on a holiday because that was the winter in Australia. So I just tried to escape the winter. I went to Europe and then I went to Canada and America. I was training a bit there, but mostly holiday. And then I flew back like mid-September in Melbourne. And obviously I'm always training, so I was still fit and stuff, but not training as much as I would usually. And Eternal was doing a show in Melbourne. I was not on the card because I was not training and I was not planning to fight right then. I was hoping to fight a few months later. And Jack Della was supposed to fight for the title against someone, I forgot who he was. And this guy got injured. And I believe that was 7 or 8 days before the fight. And the guys from Eternal asked me if I would fight him. And I say, yes, of course. So yeah, they just offered me the fight. That was my third pro fight. And yeah, I got cut over the eye during the second round. And between round 2 and round 3, the doctor came and stopped the fight because my eyebrow was kind of falling down a tiny bit. So apparently that wasn't safe enough for my eye, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. I don't regret enough taking this fight, to be honest. I do believe that you never know what's gonna happen. When you have opportunities, you should jump on them. And even if I lost this fight, I've learned a lot because that was only my third pro fight. But yeah, that was a good opportunity. I'm glad I took it, and it is what it is. Improved a lot since then, and hopefully I'll get to fight him again in the UFC. Who knows? Would be good.
Yeah, I mean, that's your only loss in now 6 pro fights. Next weekend, you're taking on Kaleb Rideout for another shot at the Eternal Welterweight Championship. He's 6-2. You know, a good fight there. A really good measure of what's, you know, at the top in Australia and New Zealand, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he has a few more fights than me. He has some nice knockouts as well. He's a very interesting profile. He's a bit taller than me, which is hard to be at welterweight because I'm already quite tall. But yeah, he's a bit taller than me, and yeah, he's a dangerous fight in a way. And his style is very different. He does awkward techniques, a lot of spinning elbows, spinning back fists, and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of dangerous fight, but I like this kind of stuff. Like I know I need to be focused, and yeah, so that should be good, and I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Coming up against a guy who throws a lot of spinning stuff, for you as a grappler, that kind of plays into your wheelhouse, right? If you can time that stuff.
Yeah, but who said I was a grappler? Now I'm a bit of everything, you know. So to be honest, I don't even consider myself a grappler or anything anymore. I do believe that in MMA at the highest level, you need to be good everywhere, and that's what I'm trying to be. And if it goes to the ground, that's cool. But if it stays standing, that's cool too. Like obviously, it's probably more dangerous standing than it is on the ground. But either way, you need to stay focused, and you never know what's gonna happen. So I'm not gonna rush the takedown or anything. Like I'm happy to keep it standing, but if we get the clinch, I'll probably get him done. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, just have to be focused because those techniques can happen at any time. So yeah, just need to be ready always.
You mentioned Jack Della and hopefully one day meeting him in the UFC. There is a UFC card in Paris, not too far away. How do we go about getting you on that? Like, obviously, winning next weekend is a big step in the right direction, but have you sort of put any feelers out to, I guess, guys at the gym about how you go promoting yourself so you can somehow find a way to sneak onto that card? Because I mean, Frenchman fighting for the UFC in Paris, I mean, that's the dream, right?
100%. That's gonna be the first ever UFC card in France. So that's definitely a big deal for any French fighters, so me included. And yeah, well, for now, I'm focused on my fight ahead on July 16th because like step by step, I need to make sure I handle business on this night. And that's definitely what I will be like aiming for what after. So yeah, my management team is working on it. So let's see what happens. Getting to the UFC is not as like what some people think, and you just scream it on the mic and then you get it. That's not how it works, and I'm sure you know about it. So yeah, we'll see how it works. Like my management team is working on it. I need to handle business on July 16th, and hopefully that happens. But 100% I will stay ready. Even if they don't call me right away, I'll be ready just in case they call me last minute or whatever. And September 3rd, there's a date. I'll be ready to go, whatever happens for sure.
Alex Volkanovski mentioned this a little bit in his post-fight interview in Vegas at the weekend. Like, I think it was UFC 193. He wasn't in the UFC. They were in Australia, and he was kind of just hanging around in case a fighter fell off. And similar case when Max defended his title against, I think it was Frankie Edgar in Canada. Alex flew over to make sure if one of those guys couldn't be on the card, he wasn't going to lose his title shot. Are you going to be in Paris for the UFC card?
We'll see. I don't know. Actually, I didn't talk to Eugene about this option, but that's actually a good idea. So we'll see. Obviously, it's gonna depend, because if there is no welterweights or middleweights on the card, even if someone pulls out, they won't call me anyway. If there is some welterweights and middleweights on the card and someone pulls out, then they might be interested to get me on. So in this case, that might worth it. But I don't know. I do hope some after my fight, they understand that I'm the guy and they need to get me on the cards, because I'm planning to have a good performance on this one, and make them understand they need to get me right now. So that's the plan.
You've been in camp sort of, I guess you would have had like pretty much a full camp with Israel and with Kai, because you kind of fall in between those two guys and their title fights. I mean, how has that been? How has the intensity been training with two guys who, you know, every time they fight, they go into the biggest fights of their career?
Yeah, it's been good. We've done a few camps together now. But yeah, this one has been intense because borders open, so everything starts being like normal again. Like the boys can get back right away and everything. So the camps, this camp is much better than what it was lately. And yeah, those guys are an inspiration. Like I know they train hard. I know every time that's a bigger fight and a bigger fight and a bigger fight, and that's good to train along those guys. And yeah, like with like even those guys who don't train, who don't fight in the UFC, sorry, like they're also inspirational. Like they train hard, and everyone have the same goals. So yeah, that's good to train with this team. That's a great team to be part of.
I guess just on the last week's UFC card, you had a few teammates on there. What did you make of Israel's performance?
Yeah, that was good. To be honest, I rewatched it yesterday again. So I watched it live first, but when I watch the fight live, I'm more like enjoying the show itself and like kind of trying to don't stress too much. And then I rewatched it yesterday again, Alex fight and Brad's fight and Izzy's fight. And I don't get it how people were booing. Like for me, that's a masterclass. Why would he take any risk? Like he's taking the risk he needs to take. He's outclassing him in any aspect of the sport. Sometimes I don't understand fans, but yeah, no man, like he's done great. Like nothing to say. That's a 10 out of 10. That's good.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. Fans don't care about how healthy a fighter can stay. They just want to see a guy hit the floor.
100%. That drives me crazy, but for them that's a show. But for they just forget them. For us, like there's our health into it, and yeah, you're just gonna be smart, and if you can win like that, for me that's more impressive to win like the way he did than having a early first round knockout or something, because you could be lucky. When you outclass someone for 25 minutes, you are definitely better than this guy. So for me, that means more. Eugene
sort of mentioned it in an interview with Submission Radio, who, if anyone watching hasn't watched that, I'll post a link in the comments. His guys work on hitting and not getting hit so that they can live long, healthy lives and so on. Like, is that something that you as a fighter think about when you're training, when you're going into a fight? Like you don't really want to get into these firefights where you're just kind of standing there taking damage to give damage. Like, is that something that you think about personally?
That's a tricky one. I like to fight, and I truly mean it. Like I like a good brawl and a good fight, but at the same time, I know that's a dangerous sport, and we need to be smart to be able to do it for a long time, and also to be healthy when the career will be over. So back in the day, my defense was so bad, and I was taking so much shot, and I thought that was the way to do so, to be able to actually get to punch someone. But no, my defense is much better, and my range and everything. So I understand the striking part of the sport much better. So I definitely aim to take as less damage as possible and give as much damage as possible. Sometimes that's not possible, but trying to do it, yeah, it's definitely the way to win and stay in the game for a long time, for sure.
I guess it's kind of a hard thing to plan around. Like you never really know how a fight's going to go until you're in there living in the moment. And then at that point, it's kind of just adjust on the fly to whatever comes your way.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes, you're going to have to take one to be able to get couple on him. But yeah, like ideally trying to get touch as best as possible, and picking him apart is definitely the best way to fight, in my opinion.
So, man, and just lastly, before I let you go, sell me the fight against Kaleb Rideout. Why should people be tuning into this one next weekend?
All right. So, well, this guy is very aggressive, or at least, he's been very aggressive on all his fights, which means he often gets to the clinch and get close to people. And if you guys got to watch my fights before, you know what happens when people come a bit too close, and they usually get flying. So yeah, you might be able to see a couple of nice takedowns on this one. And I do believe that he's a tough guy, so hopefully he can handle my power for long enough, and we can see a bit of blood on this one too. But that will be his, not mine, though.
Excellent, man. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time, and hope all goes to plan next weekend.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.